Hi guys, welcome to a different review today. So what you are watching is footage of the second round of season 34 of the SimRacing.Club Academy class. And this, I raced this event. I raced the two events, the calendar of the season 34 at Silverstone and then at São Paulo, as you can see on rFactor 2. Drivers in this series have to race both with the Porsche 911 GT3R and the Norma LMP3. So I raced at Silverstone with the Norma and at São Paulo Interlagos with the Porsche, the number 26 Porsche, that one right there. So I decided to do this review because most of us sim racers want to, after having a sim, regardless of what the sim is, we want to race, and we want to race online. And we all believe we are very good racers. Most of us do so. Maybe not all, but most of us believe or have ourselves in high account in terms of our efficiency racing, competing. Are we that good? Most of us also complain when racing because of other people's behavior on track, sometimes because we are involved in an accident. But are we always the victims? Should we sometimes also not look at our behavior? Should we also sometimes not look to be sure that we did everything we could to avoid being involved in an incident? This is something that happens in a lot of sims. It happens in iRacing, it happens in rFactor 2, Zero Corsa Competizione, Automobilista, P-Cars, whatever. So I wanted to bring to you a video about the SimRacing.Club philosophy. So these guys, for those of you that don't know, are in this business, in this market, in this community for quite some time. They host the Virtual Endurance Championship, known also as VEC, and they also host the VLMS, so the Virtual Le Mans Series. And drivers who want to race these two competitions I just mentioned have to have a license for. And to do so, to be able to get the license for, if they never raced in the SimRacing.Club events, they need to do exactly this, the SimRacing.Club Academy. So after the two races they have to perform in a season. Season lasts for 2 weeks, so between registering and racing the two rounds, this is 2 weeks we are talking about. And if they behave on track, they are awarded the L4 license. So they don't need to win or finish second or third or fourth or fifth. They can even finish last. But the thing is, drivers entering this series have to fulfill a series of requirements in terms of on-track behavior, and if they do so, they get the license. Most of us competing in sim racing are not prepared to compete. Most of us are not prepared to compete. Most of us don't know how to handle our position on track, an overtaking when racing in multi-class series, respecting drivers from less powerful cars. Most of us don't do that, and in fact, if you are in the community and if you follow what happens in the community, and if you follow, for instance, Twitch channels and other channels, you probably already saw videos making fun of sim racing behavior on track. For instance, I can remember Nicky Team, notorious real racing driver, damn good one, to be more precise. But also, as a passionate of motorsports, is also a lot of time involved in sim racing, and he does make some very funny videos about people that using his words, will never be more than regular sim racers because they don't know how to handle on track. Sim racing is something also that is capturing, as I mentioned for instance with Nicky Team, is capturing the attention of real racing drivers. The sim racing platforms are getting more and more sophisticated, more and more similar to the real deal. And rFactor 2 is the best example I can find on that matter, regardless of the quality of any other sim out there. And this has been attracting real racing drivers. Real racing drivers are used to good on-track behavior, and when they come to this sport, the virtual area of this sport, they expect to find that here. Sometimes they don't. So is SimRacing.Club following the proper philosophy for good sim racing? I would have to say yes. And to be more precise, I would have to say that they are probably the best sim racing host out there, regardless of the sim. Because what they do is they prepare drivers, sim racers if you prefer, entering their events. They prepare them to be really good drivers. They prepare them to know how to handle on track. They prepared them to be competitive, and at the same time they prepared them to be respectful and to not damage the seriousness of an event. Take for instance this image. This is the guy, and we use no names here, that doesn't matter. This is the guy that at São Paulo started leading the race with the normal LMP3 cars. Probably he did start accelerating before the crossing of the finish line, which is what it says in the rules, and he was awarded a drive-through. Yeah, and just like that, in a very competitive class, just like that, a small detail that happens frequently in racing, in sim racing events, he was awarded a penalty and his race was damaged. Yeah, that was a good example. So you have to know how to handle on track. You have to deal with the opponents, and you have to take the best out of your performance without damaging the effort that all the other drivers on track are putting into their performance in order to achieve their goals. In this case, in this competition, the goal is to get the L4 license. And I cannot remember of a club, a private club, because this is not officially involved in a sim. It's not like iRacing that hosts their official series. So SimRacing.Club is a private organization that hosts probably the best series, or the best two series available for rFactor 2, and comparing them with other sim racing platforms, I would say that the SimRacing.Club series are the best in terms of sim racing. The level of detail they put into their events, how they control the drivers' behavior, how they are so strict, for instance, in the first lap of the race, creating a red zone in the track that normally starts in the finish line and goes through at least the first sector of the track, where a driver involved in an incident is highly penalized. Regardless of if he wins the event or not, he will get a penalty that will prevent him from having the L4 license. I raced this at Silverstone with the normal MP3. I raced this at São Paulo with a Porsche, not the one you are watching in the footage, because this is footage from an onboard lap with the guy who was leading the class, the GT3 class, but I drove the 26 car, as I already mentioned. I didn't get the license. I tried to perform as best as I could on track. I was not concerned about top lap times. I was not concerned about battling for a victory. I was concerned about respecting the rules in order to get awarded an L4 license. Thing is, although I did make an effort, it was not the best effort I could have made. At Silverstone I made a mistake. I crossed the white line entering the pits. I did put my pit limiter too late, and that is one of the red flags that the Sim Racing Club has, and that is immediately a problem if you want to get a license. So for you drivers trying to find, regardless of if you are just sim racing drivers that want to compete at the best level possible, or if you are real racing drivers getting into sim racing and trying to find good racing to get you involved and enjoy the sim racing or the simulation experience, I would say Sim Racing Club is the best option out there. They are very strict. Some people say that the head of Sim Racing Club is too strict sometimes. That's not true. That's not true. These guys are the best out there, and if you want to learn how to best perform, to just be worried about your pace on track and not having to deal with crazy sim racers that will in a fraction of a second destroy your good effort, you probably should experience Sim Racing Club, because they have a platform that prepares the best sim racing drivers out there. And then just take a look at VAC, take a look at a race from VAC, take a look at a race from VLMS, and the level of driving is, I would say, perfect. The top sim racing drivers are out there, and the ones that are not there is because they don't have a team and they don't have the tools to be able to enter a team of drivers to compete endurance events from Sim Racing Club. Because if they were given that chance, I'm pretty sure, and if they had the license, I'm pretty sure they would not even blink, and they would go immediately to compete, because you will find the best racing drivers both in terms of performance and in terms of on-track behavior. Why? Because they were prepared, because they were formed, because they had to learn the lesson on how to handle your race without damaging the race of others, which is something that a lot of sim racers, too many in fact, still need to learn. Maybe some of them are for years competing. Well, they still haven't learned. They have to make a better effort. Here, you have two options. You learn or you are done. And this is probably the best, because although you get disappointed when you don't get a license, you just have to look to yourself, and you will find, I'm pretty sure you will find, that you didn't work hard enough. If you do, you'll get there. I'm the best example to say that. I prepared myself, but then in the race I made one or two mistakes that were enough to damage my license. It's like having a performance in a race. One mistake can put you against a tire barrier, a guardrail, a wall, a concrete wall, or can make you damage also the race of an opponent that had nothing to do with your mistake and with your distraction. We are going to get to another example. We are getting close to the end of the video, and in the Sim Racing Club, one of the things you must respect in the Academy series that I'm racing is Code 80. And we are getting there. So you are from an onboard lap with my car, and all of a sudden, yeah, I am braking. So the race director in TeamSpeak said code 80 in 10 seconds. Then he started a countdown, and you better have your car with the speed limiter on at 80 kilometers per hour when he finishes the countdown. When he says 2, 1, 0, because he has ways to see if you missed the counting, and everyone on track is at the moment at 80 kilometers per hour. You don't do this. You fail in this, no license. Yeah, it's fair, guys. If you want to race, if you want to be competitors, if you take this seriously, like real racing drivers do, putting a lot of money into their racing profession, career, or attempting to get there, if you want that sim racing is as good as real racing, it's also up to you to work for that. And you have to work for that, having the best performance you can have. And if the best performance you can have is not according, then you will have to work harder. So the race director ended the code 80. We are back racing, but just one lap later, there we go again, another code 80 situation. And we are all respecting this. You want to race VEC, you want to race Virtual Le Mans Series, VLMS, you want to gather a team, well, they all will have to deal with this and to know how to work with this. Because if you don't act on track accordingly in real racing, you don't get a license, you don't race. You can race on foot, but not in a racing car. So here is the same, and sim racing is getting more serious, and we all want it to be like this, more serious. So would I advise people to join SimRacing.Club, to join their series or any other series with this level of detail? I definitely would. So at the moment, guys, while doing this video, I'm not doing that because I'm communicating with you guys about my passion for sim racing and about this specific situation, SimRacing.Club. At the moment, I'm preparing myself for another season of SimRacing Academy because I do want very much my L4 license. I do aim to join Virtual Le Mans Series and VEC because for me they are the top in terms of racing, of sim racing. So I want to be there with the guys that are the best. That will make me a better driver, that will make me a better sim racer, that will make me more happy because I will be enjoying a very good competition that is a dream for me to get there. So to do that, I have to prepare myself and I have to go by the rules. This is something that a lot of sim racers don't do. They don't take things seriously and they don't go by the rules. If you want to be a better sim racer, sorry guys, you have to go by the rules and you have to work your best to be to deserve to be on track. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this different review. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.